Wow. I didn't know I could move my shoulders like that. Good morning, America. First, let me start by saying it's been a hot minute since I have made a video of any kind. It's been a hot minute since I've really done anything creative. For those of you who don't know who I am at all, my name is Louie. You can find me at You've Been Linked on Instagram. I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about my experience with top surgery. So I've almost been on hormones for a year. I've noticed a lot of changes about myself physically, mentally, emotionally within that last year. I decided that I was going to have top surgery in March. So I had been planning to have top surgery since 2000 and, well, I had been planning to have top surgery for a long time, but I had had the appointment since the end of the year in 2016. March came around really quickly. It snuck up on me. I had been working towards that. I'd been working towards getting my name changed, finding a good doctor out here where I live, and a whole bunch of other things. I go out to Florida. My doctor was Dr. Dasani. My doctor was Dr. Dasani. No, my doctor was Dr. Sasani. So I flew out to Florida in March for a week to have top surgery. My experience with Dr. Sasani was really wonderful. I really like him as a physician and as a plastic surgeon, and I would highly recommend him. And if you're in the market for having top surgery or bottom surgery or any surgery of any kind, I highly stress to do your research and take your time finding your surgeon and make sure that you look at the work that they have done and that you're on good terms with them and that they communicate with you in a clear way and that you feel safe and comfortable with them. That's like the most important. Financially, you kind of need to make sure that either your insurance is going to cover you, or that you've got some savings that you're going to use, or you can take out a loan. That's another way that you can do that. There's a few different options financially to fund yourself. You can do fundraisers. Surgery is a big deal, financially and physically. The preparation that I did for surgery was getting myself in the best possible physical condition that I could get myself in 6 months prior to surgery. So I was working out 4 times a week. I was eating really healthy. I had my immune system in a really great place. I was making sure that my body was like fit and ready for surgery, and that since I was going to be undergoing something very intense, that I was in the best shape I could possibly be in. I lost about 8 pounds before surgery. That's always super helpful if you can try and slim down a little bit so they can see what's going on just a little bit better. Complications with surgery. So my surgery went well. Went in the morning, was out in 4 or 5 hours, didn't really have a lot of pain, didn't really have a lot of nausea. I had a hard time waking up from the anesthesia and just felt super groggy, but other than that, everything went really, really well. I got to go home to the place that I was staying with my family, and it was just, on the antibiotics and the pain medicine that they gave me. And I think it was day 2 or day 3, I woke up in the middle of the night next to my partner and got up to go to the bathroom and just didn't feel well at all. And I didn't really know why I wasn't feeling well, but she leaned over and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I just said, I don't know, actually. I don't know if I'm okay. And then she took my temperature and I had a massive fever. I can't remember what it was. It was either 102 or 103, and we were both kind of freaked out at the fact that I had a fever. And then I kind of started having a little bit of a panic happen, and she was trying to calm me down, and I was trying not to have a panic attack. And at the same time, it's really hard to breathe because you're bound so tightly with the ACE bandage around your chest, and you're laying down, and everything is tight and swollen, and it's just hard. It's really hard. It's hard to take deep breaths. It's painful to take deep breaths. You're scared to take deep breaths because you're what if I rip something? So that was happening, and she got me calmed down. We waited until the morning to tell my mom, who was in the next room. We probably should have told her, but I think I took Tylenol. No, I didn't take Tylenol. But we waited until the next morning to tell her, and they called my doctor, and I actually was having a complication where the capillaries in my lungs weren't opening back up after anesthesia, so like my lungs were starting to shut down and collapse and curl up, because my lungs were still asleep. Who knew that lungs could go to sleep? That's probably not a part of your body that you want to go to sleep. So anesthesia can do that. Anesthesia can do that on different organs in your body too, and that's why going under is really dangerous. And I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm just saying this like because I wish somebody would have told me this before I had surgery, so that I could have been like more proactive about intentionally taking deep breaths and like trying to open up my lungs more and exercising them so that this would not have happened. Basically, when my lungs were starting to shrivel up, my body was freaking out, so therefore it had a fever. I didn't have an infection or anything like that, but I felt really shitty, and it was really hard for me to breathe deeply. So I then, like immediately had to start doing breathing exercises. Like every 5 minutes I'd have to take, or maybe if more frequently, like every 2 minutes or 5 minutes I had to take 10 deep breaths intentionally, and that opened my lungs back up over a period of time, but it took days. So I think without that complication, I probably would have been feeling better a lot sooner, but because of that, I was really feeling miserable. I didn't have any pain still, so that was really awesome, but because of that and like having a fever, when you have a fever, you just don't feel good. So I just was like not feeling well, not really able to get up and go around and do much, but also just having surgery in general, it takes a lot out of you, so I was pretty worn out. And then by the end of it, my mom got really, really sick. So my mom got the flu or something, and she was actually supposed to fly back to the West Coast with me after my surgery. Like I said, my surgery was in Florida, but because she got sick, she couldn't. So then I had to find a flight for her to fly back to where we're from on the East Coast, and I had to fly back to the West Coast by myself. So that was adventurous. I forgot to talk about my chest reveal. So, the complications happened and everything like that. You just lay in bed like, I don't even know, like a beached whale or whatever. You just lay in bed and do nothing. It's really boring, and then you're actually really not sleeping that much. I wish I would have slept so much more, but you have to take medicine like every 3 hours. So you don't really sleep very much, even though every moment you do get, you're trying to sleep. My post-op appointment was 8 days after my surgery. So I go in, I'm super excited, my best friend is there with me, my mom is sick, so she's not there with me, but then my mom's best friend was there with us, and you have those horrible drains, mine were like in my shoulders right here, that they put in to help drain the fluid over time. By the way, they're the most disgusting things ever, and they hurt. Like, I know that what my partner was doing for me was what needed to happen because it was helping drain excess fluid, but you literally have to pull on these tubes to create suction, and it sucks stuff out of your chest. Like literally you can see it coming through the tubes, and it is the most terrible feeling ever because these tubes go into you in your shoulders, and they go into you like this is like probably 7 inches. Like they're in there sucking out this fluid, and you have to dump them. You literally have to unscrew them and dump bloody, clear liquid. Oh, if you get queasy, I'm getting dizzy talking about it. If you get queasy at all, somebody else is gonna have to do that for you. I, by the end, was able to do it a little bit for myself, but for the most part, my mom and my partner had to do that for me because I couldn't. But anyway, so she would pull on the tube, and it would suck in my chest, and literally that was one of the biggest pains I had the whole time. That and taking the drains out. Not even the actual surgery didn't even hurt me as bad as those flipping drains did. Oh my god, they were terrible. And you just have to hang them on you. You literally clip them to your clothes. So you just have these 2 little ball sack type things hanging out, filled with red fluid and clear fluid. And sometimes it has chunks in it. And a couple of times I hung them in my shorts, so they looked like my gonads, and when I went out in public, I hung them on the inside of my shorts, so they just look like balls. So we go in for my post-op appointment and my chest reveal, and they're taking off the ace bandage because you've had this darn ace bandage on for 8 days. You can't shower or anything like that, and man, when he started taking that off, I could smell myself, and it was disgusting, and I just kept apologizing. I was like, I am so sorry. I can smell myself, and that is disgusting. I can't believe that I, as a human being, smell that rotten right now. And he was like, it's fine. I deal with that all the time. And I was like, okay. So when they're taking it off, you're kind of like leaning back a little bit just in case you get, you know, dizzy or whatever, but you can't really see your chest yet. And I was sitting there with my eyes closed because everything in, like, for a while, everything here was just like, I didn't want to touch it. I was afraid to touch it, just like everything. So then, like, you get to look down for the first time and, like, actually see your flat chest for the first time from, like, this top view. And it's, like, just an incredibly emotional, life-changing moment. And that, like, seeing no breastises there is just, like, incredible. And then they're like, okay, it's time to take the drains out. You ready? And I'm like, I guess. And no one tells you. Like, I feel like nobody told me what that was going to feel like. And the doctor's like, it's probably going to hurt a little bit. So they lay you down. Say you don't pass out, throw up, and shit on yourself. They lay you down. He, like, takes off the little stitches. They're, like, holding this tube inside of you. It seems, all of it seems, like, very sketchy. It seems sketchy. Like, literally, if you looked at it, a plastic tube is just sticking out of you. That's all. Then he, like, pushes on it, and then he literally pulls it out. Like, just pulls it out, and you feel it. You feel every bit of it. You feel the tube leaving, like, your sternum, middle, chest area and coming all the way out. It kind of feels like you're throwing up from your shoulder in a very burning way. Like you just ate a very spicy burrito, and now you're vomiting it out of your shoulder. And then when they're done with this one, guess what? It has to happen again, over here. So that was the worst ever, like literally the worst. I'm pretty sure I was shaking after that. I'm pretty sure I broke my best friend's hand. I'm sorry. That was very painful. So then after that, when you're done quivering from the pain, you stand up and you go look at your chest for the very first time. And I'm getting goosebumps just remembering that moment. Because also you're still like on pain meds and stuff, and you're feeling a little loopy. So, and maybe overly emotional because you haven't been on testosterone in like 18 days or something crazy like that. So you walk over to the mirror, and I just remember like seeing my chest and just like seeing boy, like for the first time ever, seeing boy, like me as a boy, and like me how I've always wanted to see myself and dreamed and imagined seeing myself, but just like couldn't because I had those annoying breastises that kept me from being able to see that. And it was incredible. Like my chest was just so flat, and like everything was symmetrical, and my incisions were straight, and just beautiful, you know, like just beautiful.